Hey VC, Brad Vinyl Guy here. Thanks for watching my latest video. This is about some online purchases that I've made recently. A lot of the stuff I've been showing you recently has had a bit of a 1960s feel to it, filling in the gaps in my collection, but the stuff that's coming up now is probably more the sort of stuff I would normally buy in terms of the style of the music. So, hope you're all doing okay. Let's get to the first one. So this is Ty Segall. And this is a split album with a group called Black Time. Ty Segall is from Laguna Beach, California. Black Time are from London. They're a three-piece. Now Ty Segall is quite sort of prolific. He's in other bands. He's kind of a noise rock kind of guy, psych a bit to a degree, garagey. He plays in a band called Fuzz, and Broken Bat is also in there. And likewise Black Time, who are on the second side of this album. They're quite punky and noisy as well. I probably prefer the Ty Segall album, the first side. But there's also some good ones on the second side too. This is Canadian, 2009 this one came out. That's what the label looks like. Next up we've got a guy called Lou Lewis, Reformer. This album's called Save the Whale, and this is a pub rock R&B album. Lou Lewis grew up in the same street as Lee Brillo from Dr. Feelgood, and he was part of that pub rock Canvey Island, Southend scene. 1979 for this one, and he worked with people from Dr. Feelgood before they became Dr. Feelgood, and he also played on a couple of Eddie and the Hot Rods songs. Eddie and the Hot Rods part of the pub rock scene as well in the UK. And I saw them live a couple of years ago, still doing it, and they were still great. And he's worked with a lot of famous bands and people, as well as work on his own on this album. He's worked with The Clash, Sniffing the Tears, Kirsty MacColl, Stranglers. And Lou Lewis unfortunately ended up in jail for 7 years for armed robbery at one point. He robbed a post office in the UK, and his mode of getaway transport was a folding bag. Interesting. And this is on Stiff Records, and that's what the label looks like. Relatively early Stiff Records release. The great R&B, pub rock. Lou Lewis, Reformer, that one. So this is Deer Hoof, Reveille. Deer Hoof, experimental, avant-garde, sometimes garagey. They sort of vary it from song to song. A lot of very short songs on this album. And this album is a repress of a 2002 album, which was their fourth album. They're from San Francisco, California. And like I said, quite experimental at times. They've been described as a cross between the B-52s and Yoko Ono, which is fairly near the point, I would say, in some respects. UK band that I've mentioned before, the Go Team, they're quite similar in some terms to Deer Hoof as well. Bit of Japanese vocals in there. Like I said, vary from song to song. But that's Deer Hoof, Reveille. Got a couple albums by them and really good. Next up we've got a UK group from Leicester. This is a compilation album called, it's just the best of the Deep Freeze Mice. And this album came out in 2014. It was a United States pressing. Now a band that never really made it very big in the UK. I think they must have made about 10 albums. Started off in 1978, and they're kind of indie post-punk in delivery, I would say. Some great song titles on here. Disappearance of the Guard Dog, Red Light for the Greens, Minstrel Radio Yogurt. So you've got an idea of what they're going to be like, really. Sort of surreal lyrics, kind of absurd deadpan delivery, lots of keyboards on there. They've been described as being prog, but I wouldn't really say they're very proggy. Deep Freeze Mice compilation. It's got quite a nice blue and silver label. That one, quite like that one. Okay, next a band that you probably will know, White Stripes, and this is their final album, the 6th studio album, Icky Thump. Garage, punk, blues, usual stuff you get from the White Stripes. This is a 180 gram vinyl ×2. This is really, really heavy. I haven't opened this one yet, as you can see. I've got a massive backlog of stuff to listen to, but I like the nice little Icky Thump little sticker on here, which was on a lot of the singles that came out at this time as well. And this is a great album. I really like this one. It's probably a bit wilder than some of their other stuff. It's more like the very early albums, very rough and ready. But it was the longest album that they ever took to make. It took them 3 weeks to make this one, which is quite long by their standards. Very short by a lot of people's standards. But obviously, it's got the title track on here. Little Cream Soda, Rag and Bone. But there's, there's all sorts on here. There's a bit of Scottish folk, bagpipes. To throw it all in. And a bit of a contrast in terms of what they're wearing. They always wear some pretty wild outfits, don't they, on the front of their albums. But sort of Pearly King and Queen here of the south of England, sort of known around the London area. Whereas the title Icky Thump is sort of like a northwest expression in the UK. Slightly changed for sort of potential copyright reasons. But a really, really good album. I'm sure a lot of you all know Icky Thump, the final White Stripes album. Picked up Guero by Beck. I think this was his 4th album that he made in studio, from 2005. And again, 180 gram pressing on this one, heavyweight one. It feels quite light. The packaging, it's in a gatefold. And there's some good guest appearances on this one. It's co-produced by the Dust Brothers, who many of you will know have worked with the Beastie Boys on Paul's Boutique. They've worked with many other people as well. And that was the original name of the Chemical Brothers, but not the same people. They had to change their names, copyright infringement reasons. And also Jack White plays bass on here as well. There's a guest appearance by Money Mark, who's also worked with the Beastie Boys. I think he plays keyboards on one of the songs. And Christina Ricci does a voiceover on one of the songs as well. And Black Tambourine was dedicated to Elliott Smith as well. Sorry, Broken Drum, sorry, correct myself, was dedicated to Elliott Smith. Black Tambourine was used in the Inland Empire film. Yeah. But it's kind of a return to his sort of beats and rap and riff style, I would say, this album. So that's Guero by Beck. Okay, so next, The Cult, Hidden City, another heavyweight 2-vinyl album here. This one came out at the beginning of last year, so about a year old now. And I was talking to Grebo69 on here about a month or so ago about The Cult, and we were sort of saying we kind of lost interest in them at the end of the 90s, or sorry, the end of the 80s, because they weren't really doing a lot and were sort of not doing anything too different. But I'd listened to this album fairly recently when I saw it in a sale to see what it was like, and I was really, really impressed. It kind of reminded me of late 80s Cult, very riffy, which is what you want from the Cult. Great melodies, and Ian Astbury's vocals, much more growly now, probably because he's that bit older, the voice not quite there as it was. But I think that kind of adds to the album, because it takes it to a new place for the Cult, and you've got, like I say, you've got the same great riffs that you had on Cult albums, mixed with his now growly vocals, which work really well. And this was, I think it's her 10th studio album, this one. The 5th one produced by Bob Rock, and Bob Rock plays bass on here as well on a couple of songs, as does Chris Chaney from Jane's Addiction. So that's The Cult, Hidden City. Really good album. And good that they're still doing it after all these years, doing it really well. Next up, we've got Red House Painters, and this was their 4th album that came out in 1995. And this is a 2015 repress of that, and it also includes a 12-inch with it as well. So you've got the conventional album along with the 12-inch for Shock Me, which is with this, so that's a good value for money one. Kind of very heavy vinyl. They're kind of sadcore, I suppose, in style. Very upfront lyrics, folk melodies to a degree. But that, yeah, really nice. Red House Painters. They're from San Francisco, I'm sure you already know that. And then a new one that's just come out, Ryan Adams' Prisoner. I know this has been shown a couple of times on the VC. And it's self-produced. It's a breakup album about the breakup with his wife. So quite self-indulgent, but it's been received very well by the critics. But I think you have to be self-indulgent when you've been through the mill a bit with a relationship. Yeah, you know, it's very prolific. Ryan Adams puts an awful lot of stuff out. It's very bit up and down sometimes, but this is a really good album. I've heard it online and really enjoyed it, so I wanted to get that one. And finally from me, we've got Dwayne and Greg Allman, self-titled. This is one I picked up on Discogs, so a bit of a clean up. and this one was put out in 1973. And it's an album. It's an album of tracks that they made of unreleased material from 1968. Sadly, as I'm sure you all know, Dwayne died in a motorcycle accident in 1971, so this came out posthumously. But yeah, really nice album to have. Quite expensive in the UK, but this is a US pressing that I managed to pick up for probably half the price you get it in the UK. And it was songs that had done while I'd been working as session musicians for the 31st of February, a band that they were helping out. And like I said, released after Dwayne had died. So, self-titled get it right, Dwayne and Greg Allman. Okay, so that's it from me. I've got some more new finds that I'll put in a new video that I'll try and upload in the next few days. Massive thanks to new subscribers. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video. Take care.